Greetings, friends. Welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast. This month, sponsored by our friends Manscaped.
Woo!
You excited?
Manscaped.
You feel fresh? Yeah.
I feel very fresh. I actually we got freebies. They sent us the kits.
We got some kits. Yeah, I didn't know that I needed to be more aerodynamic while podcasting, but I certainly am. My theory is they looked at our show and they're like, look at the amount of hair on these guys. Just forecasted out what the rest of the pod could look like.
Yes. I definitely think there was a, we see the video, which is great because that means someone's watching our YouTube. Thanks, Manscaped, clearly. But yeah, they looked at it and were like, well, I can just sort of figure it out from the top down. So, yikes.
Joke's on you. I look like Pumpkinhead as he starts transitioning to Lance Hendrickson at the end of that down there. No, actually, I like Manscaped. The trimmers are fantastic. So I've been using that. I'm going with the Jason Statham look. So
Ooh,
it looks like my junk is about ready to fight a prehistoric shark.
Very cool, yeah.
And I'm not going to lie. That's not the only thing I've been having to fight. Ladies, all of them. Get back. No, this isn't for you. I don't know, because I'm still wearing pants, but they must sense it from a distance.
I don't think I've ever done... I've done some manscaping, I suppose, but never specifically I don't know. It worked really well. I have my other clippers that I use, and actually I realized after using this that they're incredibly dull. They sent us they sent us they call it the Lawnmower 3.0. That's the kit we got, which is it works very well. But yeah, I'm not going for Jason Statham as much as I am maybe Kurt Russell in Miracle. That's where I'm going to go.
Gross.
Yeah, that's the best I can do. Because I think I'm going to go with Kurt Russell, but he's just wrinkly enough. You know what I mean? You can see it.
At least do Kurt Russell in Big Trouble Little China. That's the look you're trying to cultivate.
I don't think my stuff's that masculine, to be honest with you. It's definitely that haphazard and sad, but certainly not that masculine.
See, what you're saying is exactly why Manscaped is here to help us, right? Because I think most guys, we don't take the self-care as seriously as we are, but you're taking care of yourself. You're taking care of your spouse, who definitely doesn't want Kurt Russell from The Thing when it's time to wrestle. No one wants that, right? So I think it's something we forsake. I used to be one of those guys. I had a beard trimmer, but like you said, a little rough, aggressive. You get it caught once. You get a little blood trickle. It becomes horrifying. I've also been a guy who's been known to steal my wife's leg razors. Yep. Also causes problems and tremendously horrifying. The lawnmower, though, you get in there nice. It's got a nice amount of power, but it's a smooth drag. So again,
it is.
You get that Jason Statham. You're fighting the sharks of the world, man. You're not alone anymore. Now I'm Rainn Wilson, and the little guy is Jason Statham, and we're ready to take on any prehistoric crimes that might arise.
These guys spent by the way, I don't know if you know this, they spent 18 months developing these ball trimmers. So they put in a lot of work to make these things aerodynamic, smooth, they're waterproof, which is really cool. And I don't know if you noticed this, but my bathroom is not particularly well lit. There's also this little LED light on the end, so I can totally see if I'm about to nick my wang off, which is great because nobody wants that.
I actually only do candle lighting via Barry Lyndon when I'm shaving myself. So
right. So Griffey does his by way of Griffey does the Edgar Allan Poe trim. I'm a little more with the technology, you know.
The Ravens, another good style to go for. But yeah, guys, they are great trimmers, and since they're sponsors of the show, we can help you guys get your own manscaping setup. Alex, tell them the deal.
It's very reasonably priced. So if you go to manscaped.com, you put in the code FILM at checkout, you get 20% off plus free shipping. I actually tested it out to see what the code would do. If you get the trimmers and an item they have on there called ball deodorant, which, if that's your thing, great. It comes out to $32. That's very reasonable. And actually, around this time when Christmas is coming up, and especially because we're all stuck in quarantine, not a terrible present for someone who might need a trim here or there.
Yeah, help us out. Help yourself out. Then we can all come out of quarantine, maybe out of Christmas, early next year, looking like Stallone as he's unthawed in Demolition Man would be the ideal setup.
Oh, God, please.
That's what manscaping can give you, and that's what Manscaped is helping us give to you guys. So the code is
film.
The code is film for 20% off and free shipping, correct?
Indeed.
Get yourself a lawnmower. Become the lawnmower man of your own self, right? Not all problems are digital. Even the lawnmower man, if you're going to fit in that tight gyro ball suit, he would have had to take care of himself. So, guys, as a movie fan, you can just watch all the movies I just mentioned while trimming yourself. Keep it tight, keep it right. You're welcome.
Get Manscaped, guys.
Get Manscaped with the code FILM. On to the show. Greetings, friends. Welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast, the show where we look at movies we love, break them apart, to find out what gives them their magic. I'm your host, Josh Griffey, joined as always by my muscle-bound father, and should he be around that kid, co-host?
Alex Dandino.
That'll make sense in a moment, but before we start our beefcake party entree, some business. Guys, as always, thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoy your time here. Please take a second and leave us a rating and review wherever you find the show, especially if that happens to be Apple Podcast app. It helps us out a ton. Thank you to those of you who have been doing it. Guys, please share the show on your socials with all your friends. We're on all the socials. You're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. You can find us there. It's a great way to connect, share the shows, invite your friends, reach out, message us. If you want to message us, you can also email the show, filmalchemistpod@gmail.com. So you can let us know what movies you'd like to have covered, new, old, double features, themes for a month, anything like that. I will say, as every December we stuff your stockings, we've been asking for requests. We've already gotten a double feature. We've gotten 2 new flicks, a gang of old ones. We've got some really good stuff coming up on our listener selection. So if you're hearing this now, you still have plenty of time. It's not December yet. We record all through the month. So get your picks in. Any movie you want to hear us discuss, hit us on any of the sources I just named, and we might discuss your film as a stocking stuffer. Also, please head over to our YouTube channel, Film Alchemist now, formerly Nerd Alchemist. Now it is Film Alchemist, a little less confusing. So go over there and find us. We have some new stuff dropping. We're really working on ramping up the YouTube presence in the upcoming year. So please go over there and subscribe.
Yes, 100%. Also, we are 1,000%. We're also sponsored by Manscaped this month. Manscaped.
That's right.
Griff, are you baby smooth? Like John Matrix in this movie?
Like John Matrix, yeah, Jesus Christ. That's how he's able to roll that paint on so smoothly. But yeah, not only am I so clean shaven now in my little Griff, it actually, I think, is directly what's responsible for me being down to a stubble beard again. I went away from the Black Phillip beard because I was just too used to being smooth and comfortable. I couldn't deal it. But anyways, Manscaped, guys, go treat yourself. It's a great gift for others, great gift for you. Code
absolutely wonderful.
FILM will get you 20% off, free shipping. So go do that. It helps the show out enormously, and it helps you out enormously, guys.
It does, guys. There's a lot of cool stuff on there.
One more piece of business. If you're on the YouTube, you can see, woo, we got that hot merch on. So you can find us on all our socials. We have a link to our T Republic.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a link to our merch store, so now you can have things with our show's logo on it, and some more new stuff coming there. Man, that's a lot of business to get through every time. All right, the pod is bringing the beef. Arnold is definitely the beefiest of the beefcakes this month. Commando is probably the most meathead-friendly movie of the month. Zardoz definitely not. Swayze's got a little bit of a romantic undertone. Demolition Man has a bit of philosophy and sci-fi speculation. I said a bit. The sci-fi speculation and philosophy is as small as those Taco Bell portions, but it's there, right? Commando is just straight up, when you think of the 80s action wave, right? I feel like Commando's the kind of flick that checks all the stereotypical boxes that you're imagining, right? It is just muscles and fighting and guns and awesome one-liners. Alex, hit me with your opening thoughts on Commando.
Commando is the prototype for every action movie anyone's ever made fun of in the history of action movies. It's wonderful. It's very straightforward. It has a very simple premise. Don't go steal my daughter that also there's a chance I might be having a relationship with. We'll get to that. Yeah. Controversy.
But it's essentially just Taken. Like, Taken is Commando. But a little fancier, a little more European swag, right? This is just straight up beer for my horses version of Taken, right?
Yes, absolutely. Beer for my horses version of Taken.
Yeah, the beer for my horses version. I love the insanely convoluted stories that 80s movies came up with around people in the military. So essentially the plot of Commando, for those of you who it's been a while, but you should go check out Commando. I know it's on HBO Max right now.
It's on HBO Max right now.
You should probably buy it because you'll be rewatching it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. This is a guy who was in an elite military. We know not a Green Beret because that's what he eats for breakfast, right?
No, he was Delta Force.
Yeah, so he's not Delta Farce with Larry the
Not
Cable
Delta
Guy.
Farce.
Delta Force.
I mean,
Yes, so he is a Delta Force commando who disbanded his group because he wanted to hang out with a young girl that we're told is his daughter. A bit of a hard pill to swallow.
We'll get to that. Controversy.
We'll get to that, right? He apparently has been cutting down trees to slowly add to this log cabin in the middle of nowhere, doing dad life, right? Next thing you know, his team is getting killed. To throw suspicion off of one military murderer so that they can co-opt him to become a military murderer for a deposed third world general. Yes. So that Arnold can then, instead of his teammate, go kill a president, and they'll kill his daughter if they don't do that. It's a lot. One of the things I love about these movies is just the amount of effort they went through. Like, you could have just shot the guy. Like, just go find any sniper in the world and pay him money instead of, I'm going to steal a guy who looks like Arnold's daughter.
I feel like the movie Shooter with Mark Wahlberg is happening concurrently with Commando, and they're like happening in the same universe, but like one person is like, oh, you know what we're going to do? Let that guy go over there. This guy, though, we need to pay special attention to and just kidnap Alyssa Milano. Yeah, I'll say this. I was 34 years old the first time I ever saw the opening credits to Commando.
Have you never seen this?
I've seen Commando before. This is the thing, though, is I've only ever caught Commando on television and routinely miss the opening credits. The first thing I always see when I watch first thing I always see is like the helicopter rolling up to the house. That's the first scene in the movie I've ever seen. Yes. I've never seen the opening with like the guys getting shot, and I've never seen these delightful montage of these two adults falling in love, Alyssa Milano and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, since the movie Leon the Professional, it's probably the last time I really had to grapple with something like this, right? I was like, are we just doing Lolita with guns to distract us? Like, is there a crime? This is the opening setup of how they meet, right? So Arnold is just... We start off, and before we even see Arnold, we just have to do a close-up on all the veiny, bulging muscles.
All his muscles, and also for a guy who's doing a lot of work in the woods, very, very clean boots.
Okay, I'm not here to judge his boots. Maybe this is a man who they say he is silent and stealthy, man. He doesn't get caught in the muck.
Also, the opening of this movie definitely was directed by Quentin Tarantino because there's a lot of feet in this.
A lot of feet. What? That's the real stealthy enemy of the movie is the feet fetish. No, what I'm telling you is the opening scene where we are introduced to his daughter is a textbook action movie meet cute, right? If that's such a thing, right? They meet, it's less cute and a little more, what's up? Like, you meet a girl, hey, what's up? You want to go rub abs later? All right, cool. That's what I assume meet cutes are for muscular people, right?
Sure.
Instead of having like, you want to go great abs? Yeah, all right, I got a bet.
That all checks out.
Yeah, right.
Totally.
I got a pull-up bar in my door frame. It's cool. I hang stuff from there. Neither here nor there, right? So he's cutting down trees with his axe, right? Another manly macho thing. We see a shadowy footstep approach, right? When he looks in the axe, that is a classic. He's going to catch the girl, dip her down for the kiss, right? This is the woman, right? I was the untamed beast murderer for the government until I met the girl that tamed my savage Kong-like heart, right? So instead of a Kong heart, now I've just got the Kong dong, and I'm staying at home. Right? And then you start kissing, and, like, that's a meet cute, right? They forged a life. When it's a child, the pan around to Alyssa Milano, no matter how many times I've seen this movie, always makes me, ew. Like Ernest P. Worrell.
There is a sense of, for sure. It's hard to...
I mean, them in the pool, her making him pancakes and shit, like...
There's a lot of weird stuff that... It's fascinating, because you look at it and you're like, okay, clearly this is either made by people who don't have children or have, like, nannies who handle their children for them. Because, like, again, if I was going to make a montage of me taking care of my kid, it certainly wouldn't be, like, that, like, setup where she, like, steps out of the house. Because, that is straight up like a... Oh, who's this sex kitten who tamed the wild? Oh, it's a little girl. This is weird.
Is this about to be an axe murder or a tea party? Time will tell.
And it goes to like the ice cream bit, which is, that's always a classic. Yeah. But in that, I've never seen in the context.
That's a good point. I got to pause you there because the ice cream bit, right? You have a kid. If my kid smashed an ice cream cone in my face, that's it. Away. Get the fucking car. I'm smacking that ice cream to the ground. Day's over. Family life is ruined. Everyone has to go home and cry. And then, like, are we still in this? Is this family over? That's what happens, right? The ice cream thing only works if an attractive person to you then licks it off your face.
What I was about to say is I've never seen that bit done in a movie that wasn't about two people falling in love. Which, again...
You should ask the Alchemist. Send us any non-sexualized ice cream play from a movie. I'm coming up hard pressed.
Find it and prove me wrong.
Yeah, it's a strange opening. It also, the other weird thing about it is that the film just forgoes even a line of exposition, like, your mother raised you, but now I raise you because she died, upgraded.
Yeah.
We're just not going to acknowledge that, right? Like, there's no, like, Alyssa Milano doesn't have anything to say about it. Arnold has nothing to say about it. She's just gone. There's no friction. Like, hey, I bet Mom would still be here if you weren't such a cock and just flying around the world, F5ing phone booths. But no, like, we just refuse to acknowledge it.
How's this, though?
Yeah.
In the case that it's not acknowledged, is there a chance that this is actually the Commando's actually the sequel to Junior, and Junior just was shot much later? Just saying, there's a world. If we're not going to address the non-existent mother, maybe that's because it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Maybe it's John Matrix.
Okay, so I like the idea of going back through Arnold's oeuvre, right? And just being, which female characters in said movies could have been birthed by Arnold, right? Like, the Terminator goes back and he births Sarah Connor, who then births the one who brings down Skynet because he needs someone to send him. Okay, like, sure. Probably every Arnold movie you could do that game with, right? Did he birth his female co-characters? Maybe. It makes True Lies a lot weirder. It would explain the Quado thing, maybe. Whoa. What if when Arnold talks to Quado, he's seeing his own inner womb trauma? You know what I mean? Oh,
shit. I actually really like that.
Yeah, Quado coming out of the guts, he's like, that was me, but 9 months ago. I don't know how we got here on Arnold just birthing all of his female co-stars, but
I believe it was because I posit that Junior is actually the prequel to Commando.
I suppose that makes sense in a really weird way. The guy's like, I'll quit with my highfalutin coastal elite life, and I'll just become a log jamming murderer. You know what I mean? But I don't remember exactly the setup of Junior. I feel like it's probably one of the key plot points I would have remembered if I had seen that since I was like 9. Is who inseminates Arnold? Did like a vial spill on him? Was this like a Spider-Man, like a rogue mutated sperm?
No, it's Danny DeVito inseminates him.
Like they did in the movie Don't Breathe? Like what? How did he inseminate?
Yeah, he was like it's a turkey baster thing. I don't remember.
Arnold chose to be inseminated for science?
Oh, yes.
See, I think in my mind I had rewritten it because I have no idea what happened in that movie. Rewritten it that it was like a ricochet, like bing, 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 and it bounces off the condom and goes back down the tube, and it's like, ha, ha. And Arnold impregnated himself. Okay, again, we got to stop talking about Arnold reproducing. All right, so get this set
That's
up.
That's what this podcast is now about.
It was Arnold and the Nanny. Oh, wait, that was real life. Also, neither here nor there. Okay, back to Commando, though. One of the things that is so stellar about Commando, this is one of the things I loved about 80s action movies, man. The stellar cast of just awesomely memorable, instantly charismatic character actors, right? And these guys would jump from kind of action movie to action movie. Mm-hmm. And you feel like as soon as you saw them, you knew something about the character, even if they couldn't be more disparate, right?
Oh, yeah, without a question, that is like the thing that's most strengthening about this movie as far as carrying us beyond Arnold Schwarzenegger's mysterious child and also like his muscles in general is that the cadre of villains he has to deal with is a lot like it feels almost like Bruce Lee like we're making our way up to like Dan Hedaya, who brown faces as this deposed leader.
Oh no. Okay, so let's just take these one by one. Dan Hedaya, who is essentially to me, if I were to cast him as a character actor, it would be angry Italian middle manager or father.
I always remember him as the father from Night at the Roxbury. Night at the Roxbury is the thing that I know that's a weird association, but that's always the one I have for him.
But that's what it fits into the vibe, right? He had an amazing career. To see him pop up in this though, it's because again, dad and Clueless, so he's kind of the rich dad all the time, right?
He's always the rich dad.
What else are his other big hits? Night at the Roxbury,
Rookie of the Year,
Addams Family, right? Family.
He's the Weasley owner and Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, but see, those kind of roles make sense. To see him as the third world general, and it's funny because I think he's got to be in the Hall of Fame, and for Arnold movies, I feel like this is a pretty good, deep category.
Oh, yeah,
but
totally.
One of the worst foreign accents in an 80s action movie, this has to be pretty high up there.
I mean, the best part about this movie is that you don't have to be very good at a fake accent to be menacing, because, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, again, we established early on that he didn't want that life anymore. He wasn't about that life, so he went off to become a log jamming, awesome guy. And then he got Godfather 3'd back into the life. So that's like part of the deal. But that's the best part is you don't necessarily need to have an accent or a thing. Like all of these guys have their own little thing. Like, I mean, because you've also got like David Patrick Kelly from the Warriors,
right? He's my favorite one because David Patrick Kelly, he gives it such a fun vibe for this movie, right?
Oh yeah, he's great.
Arnold is this giant, big muscle man, right? And him doing he's got the pinstripe suit, he's got the cockiness. What I love about his performance in this movie, there's that great scene when he's just strutting through the airport.
Yeah.
After he's trying to pick up the flight attendant, right? And that scene has kind of a scary, ominous Predators walk to it. But the way he walks, he's doing this like massive big dick swinging walk, right?
Oh yeah.
Same as Arnold behind him, who's like kind of like tiptoeing, right? And he's just this 5'2".
He's living his best life in this movie.
He's so. But again, this is what 80s movies did really well. It's almost a D&D function, right? The changing of the sizes and the visuals and this and that, it becomes really fucking fun. Like even. Oh, God, I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy who just gets on the airplane with him, right?
Oh yeah, that
he's
guy
just
is the
like
best.
he's got the Miami Vice suit and the hat, and it's just everything, right? He gives like the cool salute as he's about to get on. Every guy had a thing, right? Even we got to talk about who was it? Was it Vernon Wells who plays Bennet?
Bennet, yeah, Vernon Wells, Vernon Wells is like one of the like classic '80s action guys.
Oh, I left out Bill Duke of Predator fame.
I thought you were coming around to him. Yeah, Bill Duke is the man.
He's got him and Arnold seen together. He's just one of those guys. He always just brought it. Bill Duke, I always loved when he popped up and things. But the one for me was, so Vernon Wells is Bennet. To me, might be my favorite, if not the most tragic figure in any of these 80s action movies is a bad guy, because the pairing of him versus Arnold, it works for me on a couple levels, but I don't think any of them are the way they intended, right?
No. For sure.
One, he's like this schlubby uncle, right? He's got like an Uncle Rico quality to me. Like talking about how he'll throw like a dead body over the mountains over there, like a quarter mile. But he doesn't. When you just see him and Arnold on screen together. Yeah. One of these things is not like the other, and it's hard to the thing I love though, right? Because he's this frumpy uncle, bad haircut. He's kind of like he in this movie as Bennet is what I think Officer Farva imagines himself to be and look like in Super Troopers, right? That's how I think of Bennet in this movie. But what I like is that he does the very low key chainmail tank top. Yeah,
very, very, very not on the nose at all. Yeah, he looks like one of those guys who takes backyard wrestling really seriously. Like the DVDs that used to come out of like people like in their backyard like doing their own wrestling teams. He's that guy. That's how he looks.
It's like, I don't care what happens to me tonight. I'm jumping off the roof on the
I'm jumping off that roof and I'm going to suplex and do all kinds of cool stuff I saw on the TV. Like that's that's.
And then once I defeat Dog Pile over there, I'm going to power bomb Ask Jeeves into barbed wire buckets. He's just like every wrestler has like an old like defunct search engine name. Right. And then I'm going to take MapQuest and I'm going to choke slam him on the flaming tax. Woo! Yeah, no, Bennet is all right, so we've got this maniac Farva, Super Farva, who looks like a backyard wrestler. Yes. Right? Going up against Arnold, just the king of action movies to me. And he doesn't look the part. He's got a weird outfit. Right. Why does Bennet still work in this movie, though? Because I would argue he's actually super effective as a villain in this film. What about it works for you?
I'm going to tell you one reason why, and it's this bit, and it's the only reason it works. It's why it worked throughout the entirety of the 80s for like, because I got to be honest, like most 80s action movies do not have very convincing villains to me. Like not particularly great, like either seconds or big bads. Here's why. That mustache, 100%.
The mustache, right?
It's all about the mustache.
The Randy Marsh had it.
The Randy Marsh. He might not be impressive in the bod section, but that chainmail tankini is definitely rocking.
And he has like a fanny pack belt over it.
He has a fanny pack belt. He even has a little like.
This is where I keep my polishing rags for my chainmail mankini. No, I think what you are onto something though, right? There is something. This is one of those things, right? Like the reason. Like Rocky IV, right? That movie works because Dolph Lundgren looks horrifying even standing next to Stallone. You're like, oh, that Stallone guy's fucking dead. Right? Yeah. Like, the movies that do that, like, you know, they always, like, when you put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar next to Bruce Lee, right? The bad guy's a bigger, tougher, exactly. Something scary's coming so that when the little guy wins, like, oh, look at this villain he overcame. It's really hard to find someone who's, like, in Predator, they had to get an actual alien species of super murderer to go against Arnold, right? To make it a fair fight. Right. In Junior, I guess it was, reflective condoms or whatever. Predatory eggs, whatever. But this is the thing, right? So if you're not going to find someone who's bigger and more impressive than Arnold, right? Who can really, like, go toe-to-toe and grapple. Like,
and this is 1985, too.
Yeah, you could have gone with, like, your Body Ventura. You could have called in Hulk Hogan, something like that. They could have done it, right? But they opted not to. And I think the way this works is because you do forget sometimes watching these 80s movies that it is not who has the biggest muscles who always wins fights, right? And so Bennet forces you to think, so Schwarzenegger's character, Matrix, is taking him very seriously, right?
Right.
Matrix threw him off the team because he was doing shit that horrified Matrix, who we've now just seen completely fucking murder and annihilate tons of people, including civilians in the mall, that he's just like, it's fine that they die, it doesn't matter. Right? So, it doesn't matter. So,
it doesn't matter.
The movie does a pretty cool trick on us, right? Which is, we see how horrible and despicable a man Arnold is, right? To get back his child. And then to learn that Farva did things that were so wild that he's like, you can't hang out with us anymore. And the fact that this guy, Bennet is played to an absolute symphony of creep tones, right? I think it makes him even more nefarious, right? Because when they finally have their showdown, I'd argue this is a bit when the facade slips, right? Because when Arnold's like, come on, you don't ought to use the gun. You don't ought to use the gun. You ought to feel the knife going in. Watch my eyes go dead. I'm like, damn, do you talk sexually to everyone, including your daughter? Like, what the fuck? And then, but Bennet just is like, I can take you. He's having like a full-on emotional breakdown. So like, that part works with the creep. But when he pulls the knife out, the acting can be, I would say the acting is the equivalent of those old hamburger helper commercials. Mm-hmm. Where, like, the dad who you're like, did he or did he not hit everyone in his family before this commercial started? Is like, just sniffing around. He's like, is that helper? I'm hungry. Right? Like, that's his acting when he senses a fight with Arnold. But there's something unsettling and creepy about him. And again, if you're going to have the schlubby uncle, I think that almost works than just like an equally sized muscle man, right?
I agree. It's have to have... It's not a bad choice. If you can't match Arnold, you have got to match him with someone who's just kind of a creep.
Yeah.
And that's the important thing about Vernon Wells' character. That's why the mustache plays. That's why the chainmail works. That's why, like, when he shows up, we all don't question him and go, just go back to the backyard wherever you came from. Like, he is menacing because he is that guy. Like, that is the essence of a great 80s villain, I think. Mm-hmm. Like, especially in action movies. They have to be this way because, again, it's Arnold, man. Arnold will snap all these guys like twigs. I looked this up. There are 109 kills in this movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger commits 102 of them. There are only 7 deaths in this movie that are not at that man's hands.
You know, it's wild because this scene has that really great scene when he's storming the compound.
Yeah.
And he goes into the shed, and they actually do a Friday the 13th segment, which is like pitchfork, circular saw, machete. He's just like, I was like, oh my God, this is like a Friday the 13th movie, but you're like more afraid for the child. I forgot about another key piece of evidence because this is, I believe, a James Horner score, right?
It is.
Which has to be probably the worst score he ever did. This was one of his. He's like, oh, I'm so hungover from a wedding, but I'll take the paycheck. Beep, boop, beep, boop. Like, right? The weirdest part, though, is when we meet Arnold at the start and we're doing man shit. His muscle intro through the meat creep with his daughter, there is a sensual saxophone layered on top of that that becomes so uncomfortable immediately. You're like, what are you doing here? Even Horner knew something bad. He's trying to give us like the subliminal music cues. Anyways, I'll stop talking about that part.
That was like, but when all that goes down and there is that like hardcore like Lost Boys saxophone solo stuff going on over it, you're like, suspect.
Well, you're like, I'm not gonna lie, I've been exercising again for like 5 days, and you're like, yeah, those muscles, yeah, that's titillating for sure. I'm with you. Then all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's his daughter. All right, that's enough of that. All right, so we've got John Matrix S. This is the other thing I liked at the movie at the start when he surprises his commander, and they're like, silent and stealthy like always. And then in the entire rest of the movie, I don't think we see Matrix do any single action that could be called stealthy or silent, except for maybe killing the guy on the airplane. That was a pretty good.
No. Not even that is stealth. I'm glad you brought this up because while I was watching this again, I was like, this movie could have been titled like Oblivious People. Like, that's like literally no one notices anything. Like, on
Do you look
on
around
the plane,
airplane?
when he snaps that guy's neck, the first thing he does, though, is literally punches the guy in the face in front of everyone. You're telling me there's not a flight attendant who didn't see that?
Oh, that's what I sound like when I'm rocking back and forth to try to create enough space between my giant ass and the seat to find that little buckle tail. You're like, it feels like I'm fighting and trying to break my own neck. No, as soon as I get on a plane, dude, it's 3 Tylenol PMs and night-night. Like, I'm done. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me.
Sure.
I hate that shit. So, like, that part made sense to me. But then I laughed because as he's trying to, like, I'm going to jump out of the landing gear, he couldn't even stealth past the stewardess.
No.
Or flight attendant. They were stewardesses back then. Now they're flight attendants.
Now they're flight attendants.
He couldn't even stealth past her. He's just like, I'm all sick. And she's like, oh, God, I just don't want to deal with this guy. Yeah. This giant Eastern European Karen. I don't want to deal with him.
Yeah, again, I was like, airsick. Dude, you're not even up. You know what?
They're not even in the air.
You're not even in the air.
She's just like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, fuck you. She probably was telling her friends, don't go back by the drink cart. Some guy's definitely going to try to join the Mile High Club with us. Like, we know this.
Oh, no, I bet she was like, don't go back by the drink cart. There's a guy who had, like, a bean and cheese burrito in the airport, and he was just shitting his brains out.
No, that Arnold looks like the kind of guy's who's like, oh, you want to get pounded in this tiny shit room? Like, let's go. I barely fit in here, but I've got room to fit in you. Yeah, no, that is the... There was never a person happier in this entire film than the flight attendants once they realized that Arnold had jumped out of the plane. That was the best moment of any character in this movie. Speaking of airport employees who are willing to make horrible career decisions, I think our leading lady in this film is one of the weirder trajectories. We have a lot of these in 80s movies, right? They're always trying to find a way to shoehorn in some lady that can then become the quest of amour, right, for our leading man, right?
Right.
This one is real strange.
It doesn't quite add up for me. And I got to be honest,
Really? What gave it away?
Sorry, I guess that's sort of an obvious thing to say. I mean...
Okay, let me put it this way. Is it because the scene starts with one of the guys trying to sexually assault her, calling her a whore, and then Arnold re-victimizes her so that he can follow the other guy? Like, what?
Actually, you know what? Again, this is just like a bunch of oblivious people walking through this movie, because even though she is bizarre, the one scene that stood out to me was the cops. When they capture him after he, like, loads up on the gear, she pulls up alongside the giant, like, police van they put him in. Mm-hmm. The cops literally look out. All she has on is her, like, flight attendant blazer. The cop looks down and he goes, hooker. I'm like, good Lord, man.
Okay, what I do like about her, though, I'll say this about our leading lady. I love the scene when he's fighting Bill Duke's character, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm going to kick your fucking giant ass, this Green Beret. And he's like, I eat Green Berets for breakfast. I'm very hungry. And they're fighting. They even bust into the room where the other guy is definitely hooking up with a lady way hotter than him in a prostitute motel. And they're just sitting there so they can, show some tits briefly, because they're like, we've got to have more titties in this movie. Right. We don't have a lot of great options. All right, hooker motel fight. But I love when she's just like, these guys eat too much red meat. What is going on here? It's the one thing you never hear people say in 80s action movies, where it's like, what's happening around us is not okay. This is wild.
Yeah, there are these bizarre insertions of what's happening around us humor that don't make sense in context, but John Matrix's response to Cindy freaking out in the car, where she runs down the list of what's happened in the movie in the last 10 minutes, and his response is no.
Yeah. Are you going to explain yourself to me? No.
And
I'm like, I was like, why does she get preferential treatment? The audience isn't getting any of this explained to us either. How dare you?
The plot of this movie is none of our business.
Imagine what you said, right? So this lady went from... I love that Arnold ripped her car seat out so that he could still sit upright when they pull into parking
what the fuck is the point of doing that?
It doesn't matter.
I've wondered that since I was a kid. I saw this movie when I was probably 11 years old, and I have no idea why they ripped the car seat out.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's fine. That's a small bugaboo for me, because I'm like, at least lay down then, or have a blankie. You did none of that.
It's a huge thing for me. I don't know why.
Right, but this is so she goes in and she makes the smart move, right? hey, this giant asshole kidnapped me.
Right.
Let's go. Like, go get his ass. The mistake she made was not immediately leaving.
Yes.
The
mistake she made was not letting the cops handle it, which they wouldn't have.
Well, you could tell because it's just like the one guy's like, you want to see me kick some ass? He's like, oh, right. I'm gonna pull some tail over this. And then he sees Arnold, he's like, fuck. Also, any guy who's in the mall dressed like that, I would just be like, mall's done. Everyone go home.
I got to say this. Well. Also, who's going to the mall to the bar in the mall? Come on, man.
Well, you heard him. He's like, this used to be a great place to hunt Slash, I think he referred to it. I was like, oh, my God. Like, even watching this now in 2020, I was like, I don't know if there's, like, a more crass way to describe trying to pick up women. Hunt Slash. I was like, oh, it's so fucking gross. I mean, I chuckled at it, but I was like, God, those people were savages back in the 80s.
Absolutely.
But no, but imagine that. She goes from, I need help, this guy kidnapped me and ripped my car out, to, and he already had spilled the beans about his kidnapped daughter. She's like, yeah, I don't have any reason to believe that's his daughter. The audience doesn't believe that's his daughter. Fine. She goes from that to seeing him just start murdering cops. Right. And we're led to believe that somehow in that she's like, maybe something is going on. She fucking throws a cop down the stairs.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, she fucking participates.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Within the context of that scene, that's not the most shocking thing she does, actually. The most shocking thing she does is after almost murdering a police officer, which the first time I saw it, I was like, did she just kill that cop? I was 11, by the way. Again, yeah. I was 11 years old thinking that. The first thing she does immediately after, she runs outside and she's like, oh, I hope he doesn't steal my car. I'm like, if you are in a situation where a fucking psychopath has already commandeered your vehicle, just let it happen.
Yeah, well, not even that. It's like Arnold just stops because I was like, oh, Arnold thinks
chase.
Well, no, Arnold's going to use her as a weapon against someone. That's probably why he stops. Like, he doesn't give a fuck about her. He's like, I already got the car.
Yeah. He's definitely robbing her.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny because I was like, she's kind of the avatar for all of us, where it's like, man, how fun would it be if, like, all of a sudden I just quit my shitty job one day because I'm just going on this wild adventure with this fucking madman. And I was like, so I was watching the movie, I'm like, man, this seems really hard to swallow, right? That she goes from, this guy stole my car, to I'll push a cop, to like 20 minutes later in movie time, I'm going to shoot a rocket launcher at a fucking cop, right? Like, these are huge, enormous jumps.
Yeah.
Not to mention the like underlying like racial components of her versus the LAPD, right? And she's a lady. And then the movie ends with her and Arnold and Arnold's captive just saying, all right, good killing. We're going to take this plane that we stole and steal it again. So this movie has some weird shit. But what I was saying, though, is I think everyone in the audience watching is like, yeah, I think I'd quit my job and fucking ride shotgun and watch Arnold fucking power lift phone booths and flip cars over. I'd leave my job to do that.
You would? Are you saying you would? Or are you saying the people in the movie?
I think most people in the audience are like, yeah, I'd go with Arnold on that trip.
Yeah, see, I think most people would because they don't have the wherewithal to not see that kind of thing through. Like, once you see a guy take apart an inflatable in a mall and swing onto the top of an elevator, you're like, this guy probably can handle his business and keep me safe.
Well, I'm not even talking about keeping safe. I'm just like, imagine for the rest of your life, you're talking like you're going to have bar stories forever.
Sure.
I mean, granted, she works at the airport, so she probably has them. But I think most people, that's why we like action movies. We like the idea of, because a lot of these movies are like, I'm just a normal dad. Oh, you took my daughter? Psych! I'm a murder machine who lives in the suburbs, right? It's the classic fantasy. I think it's fun that this movie plays that out for a lady, right?
Sure.
And it's like, yeah, they would be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I would follow Arnold in a heartbeat. She's like, I can go back to my shitty apartment. I probably have a boyfriend who's like a 5. He's been playing Super Nintendo all day because it's the 80s.
Right.
You know what I mean? I hate him.
85, it's Atari. He's been playing on Atari or Lico. Or LecoVision.
But that's it's kind of funny, man. All right, let's talk about the things we're really here to talk about. Let's do what are the best one-liners, because this movie is notorious for having some of the best one-liners in movie history. So best one-liners, and then also it has some pretty cool feats of strength.
Yes. The two that are my favorites, I can say. My favorite feat of strength is the phone booth. That's just my all-time favorite. Like, he
Phone
literally picks up a phone booth with a person in it and throws it, which is hilarious to me. Like, I laughed hysterically watching this movie when that happened. And then my favorite one-liner, and it's like, it's not a necessarily good one, but it's just like, it's the context of the scene is he's holding Sully over the canyon. He's like, and it's like, remember when I said I'd kill you last? Yeah, you did, John. Yeah, you did. Like that, like yapping dog in those Looney Tunes. Yeah, you sure did, John. Yeah. I lied. Drop. I mean, like,
lied.
it's
and then
it's
he gets in
even,
the car and it's like, what happened to Sully? I let him go.
See, that's the thing. Like he's always got the second. I mean, I don't know. What do you think the best one? I guess that's my favorite one. I think the best one-liner, and I didn't realize this. I did 4 takes of it. The best one is the Bennet kill.
The Bennet kill is just so fucking funny because also you're like, it's over. There's no one to enjoy the joke. You've just murdered someone in front of your daughter. Like, this is not a moment to celebrate, but just does the Bennet, let off some steam. It's like, dude, what the fuck? Well, I love that line. Who's the guy he kills? He's like, stick around. Right? Like, he throws a fucking saw on him.
Wait, is that Bill? Wait, what does he say after Bill Duke gets killed?
I'm sure there's a list somewhere of the best one.
I was trying to find one before the show.
There's so many. There's so fucking many good lines in this movie.
There are. Yeah. There's actually. I read somewhere that the Bennet kill actually had 4 outtakes with 4 different lines.
4 different lines.
He had like 4 different zingers after he kills Bennet.
You think Arnold was improvising, or they just had a writer there like give him anything?
I don't know. You got any steam quips? Nah, maybe not that. Like just rattling off here and there. Like that's the kind of awesome stuff about 80s action movies. It's like so much. Like this movie was $9 million to make. It made $57 million at the box office. This movie was $9 million. Like that's the kind of shit that's truly like. That's some fucking magic right there, if you ask me. Like, I love that kind of shit.
Well, I think it's the thing that kind of pulls Commando away. Because if you look at Commando, it's essentially very stock 80s action, right?
Yes.
Foreign bad guy, some girl who's along for the ride, some lady. You know, I got to save my family and my normal life. You know, I wasn't murdered. Most of it's pretty stock, right? You do have the extra Arnold effect, like flipping the phone booth and this, that. So you get some really good Arnold moments. But really, I think the thing that everyone remembers most about this film are the one-liners, right?
Yeah.
When you do the, I let him go, Bennet, let off some steam. There's so many small lines in there that become memorable. That to me is what sad. Because if you didn't have the one-liners in here, I mean,
it's not very good.
Yeah, it's like it's Cobra at that point, right? Because Cobra's an okay action movie, but people don't remember it like Commando because it doesn't have the lines.
All right, it's 3 alternate takes. I have the 3 different lines that Matrix says in the alternate takes, which is, I hate small talk.
Okay.
I think it was too much pressure for you, Bennet.
Oh.
And couldn't take the pressure, Bennet?
I kind of like that one the best.
I like that one,
it's a little
too.
bitchier. You know what I mean?
It's super bitchy.
It also shows that Arnold understands like the physics of steam buildup. Like it works on other levels for me. More than him just saying out loud what he sees in front of his face. I don't know, man. It's fun.
Also, this month I really like. I've been really getting into the taglines for these movies because anytime we get to see the posters, I have to read you off these 4 taglines that they had. Because one of them is so horrifyingly out of context, and it's really funny. All right,
hit me.
So, if there's a mission that no man can survive, then he's the man for the job. I don't know. I don't understand that. I don't understand the dialogue there. Doesn't make sense to me.
Huh. Okay, that's horrible.
They hunted him down. They murdered his friends. Now they've taken the one thing he would kill for, his daughter. May heaven help them.
I mean, they're already murderers and a child
that
thief,
one
so
is...
yeah, like heaven's not going to help them.
Right. Now, this is the one that's on most of the posters, which is somewhere, somehow, someone's going to pay. That's pretty good.
See, that's just classic stock tough guy stuff.
That's. And then here's.
I wish this one was a little punnier though, right? Because I forgot. Actually, probably my favorite one is when he's sneaking past the stewardess or the flight attendant, and he goes, "Oh, hey, don't wake up my friend. He's dead tired." I was like, "That's great." Come on.
Here's the. All right, this is the one that's way out of context. Have no idea why, but it's also on the poster on the IMDb page. So if you look it up, you'll see it. Let's party.
Let's party.
That's let's party.
Is that if we're pretending the flight attendant's the main character? Like what?
I don't know, but it's just let's party.
Is this one of the people who's in the slash hunting bar saying that? Like, what is the context of that?
I don't know.
What about this is a party? Unless that she's definitely not his daughter.
I'm looking at the poster. The poster on the IMDb page, though, because I always have the photo of the poster. It's the one that says "Let's party." I don't know the context of why anyone would use that as the tagline, but nevertheless,
I think they had a punny one in there somewhere.
Yeah,
they had a punny one somewhere, and they just missed it.
What?
I don't know, man. At the end of the day, what I love about this movie is I think it delivers all the basic 80s action you want, but because you have Arnold, it elevates because he is just one of those arresting figures to watch in most movies, right? You can't take your eyes off Arnold when he's in a movie, it feels like, especially in this era, the way they just found ways to utilize what he was bringing to the table. Right. You got an amazing array of bad guys, that just all kind of have this weird little unique flavor that play off Arnold really well. Yeah. The jokes are fucking hysterical, and shouts out, baby Bill Paxton.
Yes,
that was wild. I had totally forgotten.
Love seeing that, man.
What would you say? Your final little "I love Commando" to the audience.
I mean, Commando again. It's the prototype for every great action movie. It's the prototype for every great parody of an action movie, and it has the perfect. It has the perfect amount of action, perfect amount of all these things you want from an action movie. The one-liners, the violence, like all the stuff that you need to make a great action movie comes in Commando. And Commando kind of exists as this blueprint going forward from 1985 for like how to make these kinds of movies. And granted, like you play with that format and that kind of thing, but I love Commando because it's not bonkers. Like, oh my God, this is crazy. They're just killing. Yeah. Like, it's Schwarzenegger at his like peak beefcakeness, just taking everything down. Like, that's the stuff that I love the most.
I mean, just mowing down 109 guys. You're like, this movie knows what we want, and then it puts a nice layer of like really memorable, awesome one-line icing on it.
It's perfect.
There's a scene in the movie. It's a really small scene, but it kind of struck me as like, oh, this is Commando in a nutshell. When Arnold's in his Speedo and he's getting his shopping bags out, right, for all of his like his boat raiding murder parade or whatever.
Right.
When the stewardess flight attendant lady's handing him his bags, she just smiles at him. She's like, good luck. Like she's on some kind of fucking vacation with this like dream Fabio she met. And you're like, do you realize this guy's going in to fight like a small army with just what's in these bags? His daughter, air quotes, might be dead. And this lady's smiling, right? And I laugh because her whole storyline is just, wouldn't you quit your job to hang out and rage with Arnold?
Right.
The answer for most of us is yes, obviously. But she's just smiling because even when the stakes are high and it seems so stupid, it's just always entertaining and funny. Like, even watching Arnold put all that shit in the boat, you're like, he's going to kill a lot of people with that. So in that moment of really weird, bad acting, I would say, it kind of summarizes to me in a cute way why I like Commando, man.
But you realize right there, you've just discovered that's the Let's Party tagline, that moment. That brings it forward.
That's when he says, let's party?
No, she gives off the let's party vibe, and he's like, yep, I'm going to go kill 102 people.
She's just like, I had this kink for a long time. They don't have faces of death yet. I mean, hey, if that's a party to you, right? A party like Hellraiser, like Pinhead says, angel to some, demons to the other. All right, guys, that's enough Commando. Man, I am overfilled with beef. But we got one more. We got one more a beefcake movie for this Thanksgiving celebration.
Excited.
Roadhouse. I don't know how many good things I can say about that movie. I'm going to try to fit it into about an hour, but man, one of my all-time favorite movies. Some Patrick Swayze in your life. Go find Roadhouse and get ready for next week. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
All right, as always, guys, please take a second, leave us a rating and review. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Film Alchemist. Find us on all your socials. Shout us out to your friends. Get them to leave ratings and reviews, too. In all the bios of our socials, you can now find links if you want to get some merchandise from the show. We have that for you on all our socials. You can find it there. Also, go to Manscaped, buy some stuff with our code FILM for yourself and your friends that need to treat yourself, pamper yourself. We're about to be back in lockdown. We're all going to need our creature comforts.
Please.
We can help you out. Code FILM at checkout to get 20% off and free shipping on any of the amazing Manscaped products. I can attest firsthand. I use them. They are awesome.
Same.
So until next time, guys, get ready for Roadhouse. Also, still time. Get your picks in for our December stocking stuffer list, and we might cover exactly what you want to hear about. For the Film Alchemist, I'm Josh Griffey.
I'm Alex Dandino. Let's party?
No, that's a hard pass. I'm calling Child Protective Services.